Mac, I was thinking about this on Fox Sunday night. I'm not sure if I've ever been this jacked to watch a preseason game. It's Caleb Williams and the Bears taking on the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. And Ben Johnson has said, listen, we're playing starters. So, and we've seen this preseason, Mahomes and Burrow and, veterans are playing. Everybody's playing. So, but this week they held out Caleb Williams. And so I want to talk about this. We tend to think as fans and media, we tend to think if you're really talented, that the problems are always solvable. Carmelo Anthony, well, he's a great athlete. He'll commit to defense eventually. He never did. James Harden never committed to the defensive end. MJ did, Kobe did, LeBron did, Durant has, even Steph Curry, who's not great, did, Bird did. Melo, James Harden never did. Could have. Luka's never really committed to defense. Well, he's in great shape. He'll use that for offense. My guess, not for defense. We tend to think, though, like we all know that Sean McVay could not make Jared Goff fast. Or Kyle Shanahan may have made Matt Ryan an MVP, but he couldn't make him a great athlete. But when we see these great talents, we think, wow, you can solve their problems. Aaron Rodgers has been aloof his entire career. Jay Cutler's temperament was not a winning temperament in the NFL. And Cutler was really talented, and so is Aaron Rodgers. Kyler Murray, is he really as committed as Tom Brady was? He's certainly talented enough to be. We think commitment's just getting in a little early, staying a little late. Doesn't work that way. When you're a great athlete like Caleb Williams, there's some things that come easy and you really never develop them. Right? Like I always said, there's very few supermodels, male or female, that have been neurosurgeons. They don't have to be, right? So I look at Caleb, and this is the part that I'm very optimistic. Last year, with two different head coaches and two different play callers, a total circus and an egregiously bad offensive line, here were the numbers. 62.5% completion percentage, 88 passer rating, 20 touchdowns, 6 picks. Those are not terrible. If he just improved just with Ben Johnson, very, very a luxury offensive mind and a very big upgrade on the offensive line. If he just improved 15%, look at the numbers. He's a Pro Bowler. 71% completion percentage, 23 touchdowns, only 5 picks, and a 101 passer rating. You would be a Pro Bowler. 15%. Now, 15% is a huge return in the stock market on an annual basis. But 15% tweaking, that's kind of what McVay did to Jared Goff. He really, if you go look at the Goff numbers, I mean, I was looking at them this morning. It's not like he took Jared Goff from 54% completion percentage to 70. He took him 54 to 62. Right? Like now the passer rating, because basically Goff was on his back with the Jeff Fisher staff, but it was a lot of tweaking. But he couldn't make him a great athlete. My question with Caleb Williams, are his issues like Carmelo? He could do it, or Luka. He could do it. They just don't want to.
Okay. We need September ASAP. I mean, this is using players who notoriously have, I wish there was a better word for behavior issues, but because that can mean so many different things, but majority of the problems were more. There's no great way, because I don't even want to say mental. I don't want to say psychological. It was, you could say it was a lack of discipline, a lack of will, a lack of interest. There were problems that the athletes were unwilling to want to solve. I think maybe that's probably the best way to put it out of any other way. That has not been shown to be Caleb Williams at all. Like, James Harden didn't want to play defense. Carmelo Anthony didn't want to play defense. Luka didn't want to put in the work. He just finally got weights and is now putting in the work in his body. Like, he didn't want to put in the work in that regard. And you start naming other players like Cutler and stuff like that. Like, these guys had, they were set in their ways and were unwilling, or the amount of work that they wanted to put in. Like James Harden. James Harden worked a ton, especially obviously offensively, but like, that's all he wanted to do. And he didn't want to worry about, and he didn't want to change his behavior in terms of closing out clubs at night and whatnot. He wasn't all about it. Okay? And so to lump Caleb Williams in that category is absurd to me. Even someone like Kyler Murray. Because Kyler Murray did not want to go all in and work real hard. And Cliff Kingsbury is an awesome offensive coach, and they competed with each other for no reason. For really no reason. Cliff Kingsbury is incredibly easy to get along, and him and Jaden Daniels connected in seconds. And that speaks volumes about Kyler Murray. Volumes. That is not the issue that we've seen with Caleb Williams. So to question, can he evolve? Can he grow? Can he improve? And then compare it to like a Carmelo Anthony or something. Those are just completely different conversations, man. They really are. They are fundamentally different conversations. And I got news for you. This drove me crazy. This happened a few months ago. It was during the playoffs for basketball, where I believe it was like Nick and like Brew, and they didn't do this on purpose. They were talking about JJ Redick. And they were saying like, oh, he's a great coach, this or that. And they're like, some of the things that he needs to work on are should be solvable. They're really more like mental than anything else. And then it's always like, whoa, you guys think just because something isn't physical that it's easier because it's mental? Like it's a mental block that someone has to get by, and that therefore it's easier than physical? Because that's not the case at all. It's actually, if you can lift 100 pounds, but I really need to get you to lift 125 pounds. It is so much easier to get you to be able to lift 125 pounds than it is to get you to be a more relaxed person, to not get as nervous, to just be a little bit nicer, to be a little bit better of a leader. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? How many times have you been angry, sad, happy, and now just change the emotion? No, don't be happy. For the rest of your life, never be angry ever again. Just do it. All you do is, it's just your mind, right? Just go do it. Never be angry ever again. That time that you got mad at your mom or your girl or whatever, just don't do it. Never get. There's no reason why. You want to yell at your mom or your wife or your boyfriend or whatever? Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Whatever. Just never get mad ever again. Never be sad. Don't be sad. Like, it's just so easy to do. Like, oh, just don't do it. I mean, if you can't even do that, what makes you think that it's so easy to do any of the other stuff? So this whole idea of this conversation is just like, it's a mess right now, and that's why it's just like whoa. Throwing Caleb into this pot of players who notoriously are just kind of like, you can question a lot of things, especially from the neck up, and now lump Caleb in there, who wants to get to work, wants to be the best he can be. He wants to be great. He wants to evolve. He wants to grow. Now, if you want to question, is he capable of doing that? That's fine. But it's a different conversation than the players who just didn't do it. So, like, I take issue with the framing of this conversation right now. I really do. I really do. And so and in a lot of ways, I agree with what Colin kind of said, where he's just like, we think because you're talented, everything's solvable. And I always talk about this, that people think that, I kind of use the example of like, kind of just like puberty, where it's just like, we assume that these players, it just takes time, that they just magically get better. Like it's just, oh, they'll grow taller. They'll start to grow a beard, like they're just gain muscle because they're just getting bigger and stronger naturally. And it's just like, no, this isn't like growing up. Like, you got to put in the work. You got to have the right coaching. It's a multi-faceted, problem here. And so I agree with that sentiment, but like, not how it's being discussed right here. I mean, Luka's weight balloons up and was and again in his main training facility never even had weights, had no desire to improve his defensive game. I mean, like, he lacked the desire. James Harden lacked the desire. Carmelo Anthony lacked the desire. You can't say that for Caleb right now. It's just not fair. It's really not. So this is not the conversation that I thought was going to take place here. I thought it was going to be another generic, what do we need to see out of Caleb on Sunday? Which I'm kind of, in a way, I'm kind of happy because it's like, you know, what else were we going to say? I mean, I was prepared to be like, oh, you know, it's kind of a lose-lose situation for Caleb because if he plays well, they'll be like, okay, well, great, you played well in a preseason game. Who cares? And if you don't play perfect, then it's going to be like, oh, see, there's problems. How did you not play perfect in a preseason game? I assume they'll probably talk about this on First Things First, so I won't share that whole take right now. I assume I'm recording this before I'm going through any First Things First stuff, so maybe that'll be another conversation, and then I can just separate those style clips. Yeah, no, I just, if anything, what Caleb did with this team last year showed he's the opposite of all of those guys that Colin named. And the fact that all the stuff that we're hearing out of Caleb and the conversations that he's had with Ben Johnson, and even that tape that we saw of him getting all upset when he wasn't successful at a drill, that is all counter to what we've seen from the Carmelo Anthonys, the James Hardens, etc., etc., etc. So absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you want to paint a picture why Caleb Williams will fail, you got to paint something new. Not that one. Not that picture. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears? Do you think his problems are solvable? Or do you think it's just, I don't know, man, it's just a coin flip? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.